Welcome to Mental and Emotional Health 3. In this video, I'm going to first summarise the main points of this series so far. Next, I'll use a personal story to illustrate how effortlessly our thinking habits can begin. And finally, I'll use the example of Amelia and Amanda to demonstrate how our thinking habits develop into a self-perpetuating cycle. Cool, so in a moment I'm going to share some things supported by research which have transformed my struggle with anxiety and depression. But first, let's just summarise the key points so far. Number one, we all have well-formed pathways in our brains which have formed over time and which automatically drive our thinking, feelings, our behaviour and how we interpret life. These pathways or thinking habits are often hidden from our awareness. They can either be healthy or unhealthy, and they really affect the quality of our lives. Number two, the amygdala and hippocampus are part of the limbic system at the base of our brain, and they produce the fight or flight response. If this system becomes overly active, it can get stuck on overdrive, resulting in a heightened sense of threat, and this can cause even more stress and lead to problems with anxiety and depression. So the first step in transforming our hidden thinking habits is to understand how they form in the first place and what keeps them intact. Last year, after moving from the UK to Australia via New York, we took our 3-year-old daughter Amelia to the beach with her auntie, uncle and cousins. It was a beautiful sunny day, and it's fair to say that the beaches in Australia are a bit different to the ones in the UK, so this was a totally new experience for Amelia. Anyway, her cousins had waded out to a rock platform which was covered in beautiful green soft seaweed, and of course Amelia wanted to join them, but when she got there, straight away she was nervous about the seaweed, and when I finally persuaded her to walk on it, she managed to scratch one of her perfectly soft British feet on a stone. And so a little tanty happened with loads of tears, and Amelia insisted that I take her back to shore. But I knew in that moment there was a real danger that Amelia could develop a fear of seaweed and maybe a resistance to going to the beach altogether, which in Australia is absolutely unthinkable. And so I did what every good parent would do, and I bribed her with chocolate. And this did the trick because it wasn't long before she was proudly walking on the seaweed, having the time of her life, tormenting little creatures with her cousins. So you can probably see from this example how easy it is to first form an opinion or a belief based on an experience, in this case that seaweed is scary and dangerous. Then to react to that belief by taking measures to protect ourselves or avoid the situation, in this case Amelia choosing to go back to shore. And then because we've avoided the fear and not given ourselves the opportunity to learn something different, our mind automatically reinforces that belief by misinterpreting new information. For example, suppose Amelia did avoid the seaweed and went back to shore, and then noticed from a distance that her cousin was also crying out on the rocks. Well, there's a good chance that she'd automatically make an assumption based on her past experience that her cousin is also crying because the seaweed is painful and dangerous, and this just reinforces her original faulty belief. But of course her cousin could be crying for any number of reasons. Maybe she just didn't want to leave. And so by avoiding the pain and protecting herself, Amelia deprives herself of the opportunity to learn something different, that the seaweed is actually safe and fun. This whole process can then loop back on itself, and it very quickly forms a well-worn belief or thinking habit. And ultimately, these thinking habits keep us on the shore and missing out on the fun of life. A more everyday example might be somebody who struggles with low self-esteem. This person, who I'll call Amanda, may have had some difficult or painful experiences that led to a hidden thinking habit that she is boring to talk to and that people don't like her. And so automatically this thinking habit leads Amanda to set up a whole range of other thinking habits and strategies to protect her from the discomfort of this belief. Perhaps she stops going to parties, or she goes but she stays safe on the edges, or maybe she talks to people but she only says the things that she thinks people want to hear. These strategies might create a small temporary decrease in her anxiety, but they ultimately result in people talking to Amanda less, which only prevents new learning from taking place and reinforces the original belief that people don't like her. The very small amount of relief that come with these strategies also come with the price tag of guaranteeing that Amanda stays imprisoned to her thinking habits. Amanda doesn't even give herself a chance to learn the truth that people like her just as she is. Now, I'm assuming that none of this is new to you, but if it is, you might be realizing how powerful and restricting these thinking habits can be. And you might be thinking that undoing them takes a bit of effort and hard work, and you'd be absolutely right. But from experience, the temporary discomfort is a small price to pay for the freedom and relief of enjoying brand new thinking habits that enhance your life rather than hold you back. In the next few videos, I'm going to share a simple and practical approach to rewiring our brain, which can make a huge difference to our mental and emotional health.